We can't talk about a black in post-Egypt. Yeah, we're so far away. That's like a joke. So we're post-slavery. Yeah, most and West Indians definitely. You understand? And some Africans. Yeah, not the immigrant Africans. They're post-colonization. You understand? So they talk a different. West Africans would talk. Has to say post-colonization if they stayed in Africa. West Indians have to say post-slavery, because most of the wickedness that's happened to us, like the gun courts, the murder, the stuff that's happening in Jamaica and Trinidad, it's post-slavery stuff. It's stuff that's happened only because we were enslaved. It's not stuff that we wanted to happen because we are the people that we. You know what I mean? Where you go with?
Yeah, man. I got the first guest in the building still. Sophia.
Hello, everyone.
What's up?
Hi.
So I wanted to ask everyone that's here in the chat. I'm absolutely disgusted that all of these people that are here have not been reporting on the disgusting attack that has happened in Utrecht. It has been looked into as a terrorist attack, and people like Raspect should be absolutely ashamed of himself for not reporting on this attack. He was on his channel on Friday saying that me and several other people have blood on our hands and all this other kind of stuff. I posed the question, why has he not done a stream reporting on the disgusting attack that has happened in Utrecht? It's the hypocrisy is absolutely disgusting. And I would like to answer.
Sophia.
Yes.
Yeah. This show. Yeah, like obviously you can ask your questions still, but this show is called The Hollywood Effect, and it made more sense to ask questions relevant to what man's been talking about. You hear me? But I don't know X, guys, because it's Dr. X's show still. So if he wants to respond to that, then it's on you, X.
No, that's a whole nother subject. That takes us somewhere else. I'm talking about what's happening to black people and how it affects us in this time.
Yeah, can I ask? Okay, well, since we're talking about black people again, can I ask you, why you're so fixated on black people?
Because I am one.
Yes, because you are black, but I'm mixed race and I don't go on and on.
Yeah, but that's because you're mixed race.
Oh, but it seems like when I first came on here, I typed in the chat and said, "Oh, are we complaining about skin color again?" Because it seems like that's what happens on here quite often.
My name's Dr. X. I've been doing this for a number of years. Yeah, nothing concrete for black people is happening. Sorry.
Are you a legitimate doctor?
No. That's something a white person usually asks me. But I'm saying because the pronunciation and the way it's written is clear that I'm not a doctor. But what I'm saying is that if you're mixed race, and I've said this many times before, you have the blood of a white person in you, with all due respect. And it really depends on what is influencing your gene pool the most that programs you to do whatever it is you want to do. You have some mixed race people that are pro-black. You have some mixed race people that are pro-white. It really depends on the dominance of their genes. Now, what's happening to black people across the world, across the entire planet, is a problem for me. And you're talking about it again, as if that's what a white person would say, as if there's a time for it to run out. You know what I'm saying? There is no time for the post-slavery effect to run out. There is no time. It's unlimited until justice is happening for us truly across the board.
Hey, yo, sorry, X. Hey, yo, Annabelle, keep your mic on. No, sorry, Supreme. Keep your mic on mute. So I was supposed to do one person at a time, but you, Sophia, was taking long to respond. I sent you the link, so yeah. Right now, you ain't really supposed to be here still, but stay here. But just keep your mic on mute for the moment, because we're gonna do one person at a time thing. But you're gone, X.
Yeah. So that's my answer to Sophie's question again, and it will go on forever. You know what I'm saying? And, once that changes, then the narrative changes. If black people start getting equal footing on this planet, you know what I'm saying? Then
so do you truly believe that black people have it hard? because you know I have a black father, and he you know, he copes absolutely fine, and he does not blame anyone else for anything he fails in.
Yeah.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing, you know, black thugs complain about the system and this and that. Well, actually, if you was to grow up and stop your slave mindset mentality and do something, you might actually be able to get somewhere in life. Blaming everyone else for your problems is not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the thing is, this life is controlled by white people, though, and white people are wicked and cruel and savage race.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So
how are
why
white
would I
people
want? Why
wicked
would I
and
want to get?
cruel?
Why would I want to get on in a world where one man has £100 million while the nation of black people starve? Why would I want to get? Why would I want to get on in a world where they have destroyed and murdered and pillaged many black people across the globe, you know, in order to be the people they are today? Why would I want to get on in that world? If I don't have this mindset, then I'll be like your dad. I don't want to be like your dad.
Great, but you could never be like my dad,
I want
because
to be like your dad, but I
you
never said I
could
wanted to be. You
never.
said you like your dad. You know what I'm saying? So as proud as you are of your dad, I'm not proud of him. It's not. It has nothing to do with me. We're not.
How could you not be proud of someone that you don't know, Doctor?
Exactly. I don't know him, so how can I be proud of him? I don't know him. That's exactly what you just. You know what you just said. What I'm trying to explain to you is that it's important that people understand their measure within this life. What it is they're about. And you're about, I don't, you know, you're mixed race, so you're more about integration and that. So you see the world from the part of having a white mother. You know what I'm saying? So you woke up in the morning and seen a white woman at your table. I've never woke up and seen that, apart from at school.
I also woke up and saw my black father.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, well, I didn't wake up and see any white person at any time. That's the difference. So you have a different upbringing and a different way to look at life, and depending on what mentality your father has, would then fuel whether how you look at the rest of the black people. If your father has a mentality like Angela Davis' father had a mentality as a mixed race, she became a voice for black people. You know what I'm saying? And she decided that black people were under pressure, and she was going to fight for black people. You get what I'm saying? There's many other mixed race people who have done that over the period of time. If you decide that that's not something you want to do, then that's fair. And if you're proud of your dad, which clearly you are, and what he does, that's fair. I don't need to be proud of him, though. That's what I'm saying to you. And you likewise don't need to be proud of me. But the bottom line is that you have your way of looking at this world, and by you saying that you're sick and tired of something, it means that you was never involved in it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be sick and tired of being sick and tired unless there's nothing to be sick and tired about. You know what I'm saying?
Of course there's something to be sick and tired about. We hear this all the time.
Like I said, you're sick and tired of it because you're not of it. That's what I'm saying to you. I'm aware that you're not of it. So obviously you're going to be sick and tired of it because you want to hear something else that suits your particular mindset. But this is not for you then, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't watch this. I don't want that. I don't watch it because it doesn't suit my mindset. So when you hear people talking about black liberation or black evolution or explaining to them how they're being fooled by a white system run by white people who I don't even think belong on this planet, you know what I'm saying? You won't get it.
Sorry, like you don't believe white people belong on this planet?
I don't believe they originate on this planet. No, I don't. I believe they're alien to this planet. Yes, that's what I believe.
Okay.
Hypothesis.
You know, yeah. I would kind of expect that from you, but can I ask, are you usually on Raspek's channel?
Sorry?
I said, can I ask you, do you go onto the Rasta Horse's channel, Raspect?
No.
Okay, because he, you know, he kind of, whenever I'm kind of on there and I'm listening in and stuff, I hear a lot about, you know, bashing white people, and I just think, what is the need to constantly bash someone I was seeing the chat earlier, someone actually said that you was talking about a devil DNA. I mean,
yeah, no, I
what?
did. I said, no,
Devil DNA.
Alien DNA. I said the alien DNA. I said the Nation of Islam used to call them the white man the devil. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure about that. What I'm saying is the alien DNA. I'm saying the way white people have operated to human beings, black people are the original human being. That's been proven. So Adam and Eve is a lie. The white Adam and Eve is a lie. The white Jesus is a lie. So we're living in a form of deception. That's what the show, what today is called. This is not a free run. I don't know if you've been on holiday, but this is not a free running show that just talks about anything and everything. I'm talking about a particular thing at a particular time. And that's what this show is. So I'm saying that the white people have destroyed the planet in such a bad way and have hurt so many human beings over the planet that there's no way I can look at them as a benevolent race. They're a malevolent race of beings. You know what I'm saying? All the Caucasians. So I'm saying that they haven't done anything. All the Caucasians. All I mean, as a race, not as the individuals. Put it that way. The Caucasian race, should I say? Not all Caucasians, obviously.
And this is obviously because what they've done in the past. But why don't you? I mean, it's not good to stroke everyone with the same brush.
No, I'm not. I'm saying white people. It's a generalization. I retracted my all statement and said I meant white people. That's a general statement about them as a race.
Okay, well, it seems like you're quite stuck in your ways, and no one will be able to sway your opinion.
Well, you don't have enough. You can't sway my opinion with emotive statements. That's not how you sway somebody who's an intellect. I'm not. You can't just talk to me as if because I'm black and I talk about black stuff I don't know anything. You can't use a particular tone of voice to sound very sort of Englishy and very. That's like. Well,
actually, just because I don't speak like I'm from the ghetto doesn't mean that I'm speaking in any particular way. This is just the way I speak.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is your own stereotype. I didn't mention ghetto. I said a particular way. My daughter speaks like you, and they say, "Oh, you speak posh." I'm saying, by speaking like that, people who are unaware might think that means you're very educated, but you haven't come up with anything intellectual. That you're just emotional. So it doesn't seem that intellectual to me. That's what I was going to say. I don't care about your voice.
Yeah, the thing is that it's because I hear this so much about, like when I saw the main reason why I came on was to kind of just ask people why there wasn't an uproar about the disgusting attack.
It's the wrong program for that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, clearly today's talking about, black people again, and that's amazing.
Yeah, again, absolutely. Because you're using all the typical things that white people use.
How am I using the typical things that white people are using?
It's their attitude. You sound like somebody that's more DNA white than you are black. Well, that's my opinion. Because I've been talking like this for over 20 years, so I know the different tones and the different styles.
But this is my first time talking to you. I've made an assumption. I've come to a conclusion about how you sound, like how you just said to me that I'm talking about it again and again. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're doing. We're both doing the same thing. So how I'm doing it to you is that you sound like somebody white. You don't sound like somebody that understands the black situation and has come with an argument to say, okay, although you say this, blah, 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 this, that, you're coming with, I'm sick and tired, and then you're fed up, and, like emotional stuff. That's not an intellectual I will never understand what, someone like you that's black has gone through and what you think. So I can't talk on that. But what I just wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you why it was.
Yeah.
Why it was that every time I come onto this show in particular and Raspberry Chat, which is the reason why I asked you why you go onto Raspberry channel, it really does seem like you guys have a deep hatred for white people.
The gynecologist that does babies, he doesn't have a hatred for babies, does he? He brings forth babies. You know what I'm saying? A psychologist don't have a hatred for people who are twisted in their mind. He just finds out why they're twisted in their mind. All I'm doing is talking about why a lot of us as black people are twisted and who's doing it to us and why they do, and how benevolent, how malevolent white people really are to us as a race, and how they've been across the entire globe, across the entire planet. Sorry, not the globe. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about, and that's what I'll always talk about. So if you want to go on to know about history, you go on a quiz show. If you want to know about, what's happening today, maybe you go on a documentary. If you want to watch a movie about science fiction, you go and watch a sci-fi movie. You can't then go to a process that's involved in its own process. This is not what white people do, and decide that you don't like the process, so it must change. Typically white. That's what I'm saying. That's like the superior mentality that they think they have. That whatever they say is the right way to be. So no, let's not talk.
I don't have a superior mentality. I was simply just asking you a question.
You wasn't simply. You was not simply. If you were simply, you'd have answered your question and left.
I was simply asking your question. It's just like, look, you seem very emotional. Just
see, again, it's not a case of me seeing emotion. This is all the tactics that you've used have been used before. You seem emotional, just relax. You're the one who hasn't brought up anything intellectual, just emotive statements. And because I don't know what your father's like, but you don't obviously understand black men that well. We speak with a certain type of passion. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we're talking about, we don't sit there and go, well, I don't think, well, I don't like your question. And Sophia, I think that I don't talk like that. There's another type of person that can do that. That's not me. So by you stereotyping me to saying that because I'm not sounding the way you want me to sound, somehow I need to relax. It's condescending. That's what you lot do all the time. That's why you remind me of a white person, because only white people do that.
So only white people are condescending?
Only white people condescend to me. I'm not talking about all white people and all conversations. I'm talking about in my conversations. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm used to your type of banter, for want of a word. That never changes. Well, I never change.
What are you talking about, banter? I haven't tried to be funny at all.
That's not what, when we say banter, where we come from, it doesn't mean being funny. It just means exchanging of words. That's what it means. It can be funny, it can be serious. It's still banter. Yeah, that's where we come from. That's what it means. So as I said, you're obviously out of place on this show, isn't it? This show's not for what you want it to be. So
yeah, definitely, definitely. Because I'm not.
We can land that show up on aspect.
No malice intended. Just you know what I'm saying.
Is what it is.
You can go on for long saying that, but it won't change nothing.
Your ex, Carl, we got a few other people that want to come on as well. Still, there's a few people on the panel.
Just keep it moving, bro.
So Sophia, yeah, respect for coming on.
Yeah,
we're gonna line up a show.
Doctor. Yeah, I just want to say sorry to the doctor because obviously I've obviously asked the wrong questions, and you know this is not the panel to talk about a disgusting attack that took place in Utrecht. So yeah, I'll let you guys continue to talk about
we can do that show tomorrow
and all the fantastic things that
cool. Supreme,
let me just say something.
My bad. Yeah, go on.
When it comes to stuff like that, it's important that what I'm saying, that it's clear. Yeah, the show's not for that. Nobody interrupts a program and comes off with their own agenda. When you have a program on TV, it's a program. It's only black man that you feel that people think that they can come in and change the whole agenda. No, there's nowhere else.
For God's sake, it doesn't matter if there was a white person running this. Get out of your slave mentality, you victim of society. You're such a victim, and I feel sorry for you. I genuinely.
Yo, Sophia, say you got she bounced too.
Yeah, you can't. This is what I'm saying. You can't have these type of people. You know what I mean? Because they're going to tell you that you're emotional while they're being emotional, because they won't face the fact of race, or because her mother is white. They won't face the fact that they are benevolent and they live in a benevolent way across the entire globe. Now, she doesn't want to hear no more about that. So isn't there loads of stations on the internet? Isn't there hundreds of stations on the TV? Why do you pick a station to try and usurp its state without a relevant argument? The argument that she has is not relevant. Why are you talking about Utrecht? Like, who are you? Who are you? Where did you come from that you could just interrupt a show and tell people what they should be talking about? That's what white people do. That's what I'm saying. She's more like a white girl. End of story. Yes, sir. Next one. Sorry, I'm finished there.
Oh, yeah, but my brother, content, my lord. I forgot my train of thought because of
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, it's all good, brother. I mean, I could wait here while I could bounce. You know what I mean? I ain't a detractor anyway, so I think set the detractors on first. You see me?
Say nothing. I pause for a minute. Carl. Raj is on there as well. He said he wanted to do a quick one. So yeah, just stick around. You can come on next. And also, just for clarity, Sophia was the first person that asked for the link. But when I sent the link, it was taking long to respond to it. You get me, sir? That's why I put you on, because I wanted to just keep the show moving. You get me? But obviously, when you came on, Sophia came on. So that took the lead, you get me? But yeah, Raj, you take over for now. Supreme, you come on when you're ready after.
Cool, brother, cool.
Hey, Raj, take your mic off mute. No one can't hear you, man. Take your mic off mute.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I said I'll come on the show. How you doing, Leon? You all right? How you doing, people? Good?
Yeah,
good. Everybody's good up here.
Yeah. I actually come on the show because I actually want to speak to the good Doctah. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, brother.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I don't want to come in any kind of like guns blazing and saying you're wrong, you're this. I just want to understand why you think the way you think, because I've been hearing a lot of anti-white, anti-Asian. I'm talking about full-on racist rhetoric on Raspberry show, on Jedi show about against white people, calling them white devils, that they're the children of Yakub, that they're Edomites. And so I've never really heard about these terminologies until like the last couple of months. Like when I've been researching this, it's, to me it feels like racism against white people, but it seems like it's a kind of a racism which is in a way kind of condoned and justified as being what you call kind of a justified racism, because the white people have done this against your people. I'm not going to take away from the fact that the white people or the white Europeans have done some of the worst crimes against other races, especially black people who have been enslaved. Other races have done this as well. I mean, as a Sikh, India was conquered by the Islamic conquest, and over an 800-year period, 150 million Indians were massacred, and they were brown people killing brown people. So people have subjugated and killed each other from all different races. It's not just white people that go around doing this. But but I've got to agree, the white people have taken to a pretty let's just say a pretty savage level in terms of the slavery and stuff like that. So what can you just kind of explain? Do you truly believe that the white people were created? I'm just assuming. Are you do you agree with the Yakub ideology of Nation of Islam, or have I got that wrong?
No, I don't know. I don't know. See, I don't know. These are suppositions. I don't know what's right or what's wrong. What I am saying is that the behavior of a race against another race that seems or is touted as inhuman means non-human. Yeah. So in my hypothesis, then that means that you're not human. The fact where everywhere that they've ever been, they've always been foreigners, and they've always wiped out the indigenous people across the entire globe. Means that we are correct. The way in which they live amongst people, I'm not sure. You're saying brown people versus brown people. I'm not sure about the skin tone of a lot of these people, because when you start talking about skin tones and when you look at the Egyptian hieroglyphs, you'll see that there's specific skin tones, and there's the dark, and then there's a little bit dark, and then there's a light and lighter. So I'm not sure which. When you say brown, it depends. There are dark black people, and then there's light black people. So is the light black people the ones who've got the Caucasian or this alien bloodline in them that lightens the skin and is afraid of the sun, or is it actually black people? Because what I've realized in terms of my research is that anywhere that the darker skinned people are across the globe, from Arabia to China to anywhere, they've been wiped out because they're a non-aggressive race. They seemingly are a non. Even the North American Indians, they paint them as redskins, but in truth, a lot of them were dark-skinned blacks. The same with in
Canada. Are you saying that the American Indians were non-aggressive people? They used to scout people. No, that was before the white people come. So the Aztecs, who had the Mayan civilization and stuff, they used to do blood sacrifices. They used to kill and massacre people all the time. So what I'm just want you to I can understand. Are you from a Jamaican background, or are you from what kind of?
But you're saying stuff that's been. Yeah, but you're saying stuff that.
No, because I'm trying to understand. Because hold on, bro. Can I just say one thing? Because I can kind of relate, because the Sikh people have been persecuted for around 400 years, and when I look back at my past, and I see, like when I hear stories of Sikh people being butchered, they had bounties on their heads, they were enslaved, and you had scenarios where they would cut their babies up and put them around their necks. It hurts, even though it happened 300 years ago, because you're my people. So I can understand why you'd be upset. But the thing is, I don't go around then saying that the Mughals or the Islamic conquest, that they were aliens. You understand the difference? And that they're evil devil people.
Raj, you don't have to go around saying that, because you're not the one that's saying it. I'm the one that's saying it. So you don't have to do it. Yeah. What I am saying is that there's a lot of the historical timeline has been messed with. Yeah. You have enough. There's a man that's out there they used to laugh at. His name is David Icke. Yeah. And into, hundreds of thousands of people listen to this man who are white, and he's brought into play a lot of stuff that points to stuff that's missing from the historical timeline. You know what I'm saying? That means that the historical timeline and the documents have been messed with. The idea that you think that Indians were scalping, you need to tell me what a normal human group of people who were the first there would do with scalps. I tell you who was scalping. It was a white man who was scalping. This has been proven. And he used to use the scalps to line lamps, headlamps. This has been proven. But if you're going to listen to regular information and not research that information, then that's what you're going to end up with. That type of quote unquote version. Yeah.
Can I ask you something? You said the word.
There's nothing that the Indians needed white hair for. There was nothing for them. They never used it for decoration. They didn't do. They wouldn't. We human beings do not do nothing for no apparent reasons. Only what I would say a race that's not fixate, that doesn't understand this planet, which means it's an alien.
All right. So the Mayan civilization, which was around, I think maybe 1,000 years before any white man went to the Americas, they were killing people en masse on these big pyramids, taking out their hearts, sacrificing people. Hold on, Doctor. So even the American Indians used to scalp their enemies as a kind of like a kind of a trophy. This was not bringing by the white man. In India, when they were going around killing people and butchering people en masse, there's an account of 100,000 in one day. There was no white person there. They were all brown people killing brown people.
Well, as I said, all
I want to understand is that I kind of get the feeling that you feel like the white person is some kind of alien evil race who's the only race that does bad to other people, but everybody else was peaceful and walking around in flowers and hugging each other and kissing each other. But that's not the case. Everybody was killing each other.
If you listen to me from earlier, I didn't say they didn't say that they were devil. I said they were alien. That means that, that means different races behaving that Sikhs don't behave like necessarily have the same kind of culture as West African. They're just different. So I talked about the ants, the soldier ants of the Amazon, what they do. I'm saying if a race is built a certain way, you know what I'm saying, it obviously wasn't built for this planet. You know what I'm saying? If it behaves, if what it thinks is good business or good behavior is to rape and little children, murder, pillage, and obviously there's something wrong with the way they're looking at living harmoniously with this planet, to poison the planet and all stuff like that. Going back to what you said about I'm not sure about a lot of the timeline, the historical timeline. Now that I'm old, I find that it's been messed with. So some of the stuff that you read in history ain't even true.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So when you're talking about brown, like going back to the temples, when you look into the temple, there was a particular being that came into place that started that stuff. A being that liked blood. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the people themselves. It was a being that they were celebrating, and that being liked that. Just like how in the Bible it said, "Oh, and he gave forth offering, warm offering, or he gave forth, and the smell was good." This being that came forth was a being just like the beings that are allowing us, the beings right now that are allowing black people to kill little children, to kill other little children with knives, by creating an environment. But hold on, let me finish. By creating a hostile environment and not helping these people to develop because they're under their rulership. Same way, like when you go back to these people who are supposed to be ripping out hearts, they were worshiping a particular deity who came from I don't know, you see, because if you don't understand or you haven't looked into certain things, it's going to be saying like hogwash to you, but who came to them and had this as a wicked order, just like how we're doing things to ourselves now because of white people. You know what I mean? The Congolese now chop off each other's legs and arms. But before the white man got there, there was no such thing in their entire history. But the white man introduced it, and then now he's left. Well, he's still there. But
so are you saying that? Sorry, let me just say something. Are you saying that us little brown and black people can't take no responsibility for our actions to be controlled by white people? Because what it sounds like you're saying is that the white people are so superior to us that they can make us even kill each other. Can you not see how you're playing into this mindset that the white man? Hold on. Let me finish. The way you're sounding is like you actually believe the white man is superior to you, and you think he can control you. The white man can't control me. Yeah, what they can do is economically control countries and subjugate people. But they can't control you in terms of making you kill each other. That's your own decision. Yeah, you've got to take responsibility. So in India, let me give you an example. When the British partitioned India into Pakistan and India, what they did was a crime, because once they partitioned it, they didn't think about the ethnic differences between the people, and 1 million people died in the process, crossing the borders from one side to the next. But what I say about that, although I say that the British were very barbaric and I condemn them for that, the Indians need to take responsibility for killing each other. So a white man didn't go up to, say, a Sikh guy in a village and say, kill your next door neighbor Muslim neighbor, or the other way around, Muslim guy going to a Hindu village and say, oh, I'm going to kill them. No, they made the decision themselves to do it. Yeah, this kind of narrative that you're spewing, I'm sorry, Doctor, you seem like a nice guy, but I feel sorry for you because you sound like you're a victim, that these white people are controlling you to such a degree that they can make you murder each other.
Yeah, but that's because you don't understand, and you probably Sikh temples and you got all this stuff and whatever. I am saying that when you need to take responsibility. What the Indian people was them living in peace. They took responsibility for living in peace. That's when they took responsibility. You're now saying because a white man come there and they start to kill each other, they should take responsibility for that too.
I'm saying I don't. Hold on. Before I need to say I don't believe that. So I'm just going by your logic, yeah. What I was trying to say to you earlier. Hold on. So what I'm trying to say is this, yeah. Hold on. So let me rephrase it, then, Doctor. Let me rephrase it. Just say for argument's sake, I agree with you. I don't know. Just for argument's sake, I agree with you that the white man bringing this violence and made the black people and the Asian people and all the rest of the races start to kill each other and bring violence in. For argument's sake, I agree with that. Yeah. What I'm saying to you, by that logic, you then believe the white man is so powerful and is so superior to you that he can make you kill each other.
Right, you're still talking about superiority. You know what I'm saying? The ability to manipulate someone requires a level of guile and understanding. If that's what you call superior, then that's what you call superior. But if somebody knows something more than you, they can get you to bet on something you don't want to bet on. They can get you to walk down the road you don't want to walk on. They can get you to do things that you didn't intend to do because they have a sense of how you think. Yeah, so that's nothing to do with superior. That's about to do with guile, and that's how you can get somebody like, for instance, you can fool a primitive guy to think like a fire is coming out of your finger by having a lighter in your hand. So that has nothing to do with superiority. I don't think they're superior. I know that they use whatever they use as a material to split India and made you fight each other. When they landed in India, Indians were living in peace. All of them.
I didn't want. Don't talk about my history without knowing nothing. India was a bloodbath for hundreds of thousands of years. So basically, hold on a minute, bro. Hold on a minute. You're saying something about my land, so I need to say something because you're saying something incorrect. India, was under.
Hold on a minute. Yeah. Hold on a minute. If you're gonna say that I can't say nothing and like want to talk to me in that type of manner, then you need to.
Sorry, fam. I had to mute him still. Yo, Raj, it's Dr. X to show, fam. So when man says give way, you have to give way still. I don't like muting guests, but when he says give way, you have to give way.
Oh, is it his show? I'm sorry. Oh, I really apologize, man. Sorry, dude.
But you have to give way when it's give way.
Oh, cool. Fair enough, man. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't realize it was your show. I just read it now. All right. So cool. All right, yeah. I'll listen to you.
I'm saying that there are documents where it says that I've forgotten the name of the guy. He said he didn't know what he was going to do with this country because he's come and he doesn't know how he's gonna set people off against each other. I've forgotten his name, and it's obviously documented. I'm not talking off the top of my head. So you're saying it was a bloodbath. I'm saying before they got there, you're saying India was a bloodbath before even white men got there. So what were these white men seeing? Yeah. So what were these white men seeing when they got there? When they say that, we don't know what we're going to do with these people because they seem so balanced and happy. What was he saying?
So basically, just so that you can understand, not the whole of India was not a bloodbath. India is big.
You just said India was a bloodbath.
So disparate. So I'm saying there was large parts of India that were blood bought. Remember, India, you just think of as a country, but it's more of a continent. So it went all the way to Afghanistan at that point. So when the further north you go in terms of where the Sikhs are from, and north, like the top of India, was violent for hundreds of years, thousands maybe, because you had conquest coming into it. And the people coming into India for hundreds of thousands of years were fellow brown people from Afghanistan, from Iraq, from Turkey, from that. So people that were not necessarily white, and they would come down there. So over an 800-year period, from the 10th century to the 18th century, the Islamic conquest ruled India. And in that time frame, 150 million Indians were killed. Yeah, they didn't die from didn't die from hunger.
Right. So the point is you're making. I'm saying now you've gone back over what I said and just given me a whole history of something else. What I'm saying is that in terms of somebody manipulating you, you're not just now you've gone on to talk about a war some far part of the state of India where light-skinned people that you call brown people, because the people from that were quite light-skinned according to the historical documentation. So I'm saying again, I don't know. No one knows the fullness. We can all spout history for as long as we want, yeah, and say the world was not perfect. What I am saying is this: is that everywhere that the white man's been, that the black-skinned person was, not the light-skinned or anyone like that, he has murdered them and taken their stuff. So you're not talking about brown and light-skinned browns. So I don't know. See, that's a whole nother argument. I can
ask you a question though? Do you believe
what I am doing this program was based upon an African-centered history and what's happened to black people, and how I and some me view white people on that basis. You can call it racism if you want, but if somebody's introducing something, unless they're white, it's always hatred if it's white. But if it's black, but if it's white, you've got people being able to say all kinds of manner of things about black people, and then only at the last minute people say, "Oh, it's so wrong. You can't say that." But when the person says it, "Oh, there's something wrong with that. You sound a victim," and how can you discuss a scenario and show specific events along the timeline that involve black collaborators and black integrationists? I mean, it's only the other day we were allowed, because you weren't brought into America the way we were brought into America. It was only in the 60s where we were allowed to eat the same places and drink the same places as these white people. So that's a different history with a different timeline and a different set of psychological circumstances. Now, for you to want to, as an Indian, as a Sikh, to compare that because I'm saying that I think white people, are alien to the planet, and you want to say, well, everybody is alien to the planet, or everybody's violent, and then you want to just add that to, like, I don't know what that proves or where.
Right, so can I just say something? I didn't realize it was your particular show. I've just read it now. It's Dr. X. One thing I just want to say, I agree with you that if you, in terms of a particular people that have been subjugated, you can say that, the black people have been subjugated probably more than other races. There's no doubt about that. Even myself, my family's from Uganda, and they went from Punjab and I went to Uganda. And even I agree that when Idi Amin was there, although I despise Idi Amin, I can understand why indigenous black people are annoyed with the Indians, because when I speak to family members about, oh, what did you do when you were there? They didn't really interact with black people. And I think they had a bit of a superiority complex. Same with Gandhi. A lot of people espouse Gandhi as being some kind of savior for all these kind of oppressed people. But Gandhi was racist against black people and racist also against people in his own country that might have been from a lower caste. So I get what you're saying in terms of that. What I'm saying is that it feels like you're demonizing a whole people and making them into being something of a, you call them aliens basically. So you don't believe they're human beings. Are you saying that you're calling them aliens literally, or do you mean that metaphorically?
No, alien. I mean, it seems alien to the planet. Their behavior seems alien to the Aborigines and the natives. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying.
Oh, all right.
So they're alien. So wherever they come from, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So you can you break that down. If you want to say they're from outer space, you can. If you want to say that, because they're not. If they're alien to the planet, then they're not from the planet. So I'm not sure. I'm not saying that I know. I'm saying that the behavior of these inhumane people, non-human, you know what I'm saying, it's been documented. You know what I'm saying? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of cruelty, not just winning or taking over, not just subjugating or colonizing, just cruelty beyond any measure. Yeah. So I'm saying that inhumane. So for you to last on this planet as a people, you know, espousing such inhumanity up until today. You know what I'm saying? Where you have all the surplus money that you've gained through all this inhumanity that you've never given back and you've never shared amongst your own people. You have over the many hundreds of years, you've enslaved your own people and treat your own people like shit. It seems like that's the nature of your race. They've had their servants, call them Lord and Master. You know what I mean? They've had the landlords, you know, like, you know, own the land and they have to give them most of the food that they make on the land. All this stuff. They lived in houses without no windows. The people of their people have had to fight for their own rights amongst themselves. And now the bottom players, now the bottom feeders of that group of people now has now become us. So they found out a new way to create that same dynamic by destabilizing countries and importing the immigrants of these people who are desperate to leave the wars that they started in the countries, or they're a part of starting in the countries, or they funded starting in the country. Give out this other type of information. You know what I'm saying? This is why they don't like people like Alex Jones and all that. Give out this other type of message to the general public and people like yourself to say, oh yeah, that's true, because they said it's true. And then you've got this continuous import of free or cheap labor that's coming to this country, while working class and middle class people are using them to make businesses, making money from them and stepping up their lives. Now that they've reached a certain type of tipping point of that, they want to get rid of some of them. It's a continuous behavior of a malevolent group of people. Yes, there are individual white people who seem to be quite friendly and quite helpful, and many, you know what I'm saying? But we're not talking about all individual white people. We're talking about the race, how the race performs. Just like how they say, oh, black people do this, or black people are killing the streets, or black people. That's the same. I'm replaying the favor when I say white people. Not all white.
All right. So that makes a bit more sense. You're not literally saying they're alien. You're saying their behavior is alien to human beings. You feel like it's a savage kind of behavior that might be alien to the human race. But you're not saying they're aliens per se.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying then you do with that what you may.
All right. So you're leaving it to the individual to figure out what.
When you start listening to people like David Icke, there could be a non-human element that has entered the gene pool, because you start talking about if you go beyond just a regular thinking person and start talking about reptilians, or you start talking about various other types of visitations, or various type of interactions, or the faces that are on the early faces that are on the pyramids, the Cyrus and all that stuff, and some of the other stuff written by other scholars talking about, you know,
could it not just be about climate? Because if you're in a hot climate like Africa, which is hot all year round, you're not going to have that mentality of trying to kind of preserve yourself. So what I'm saying is that when you're in like Northern Europe or something like that where it's cold, you get the kind of mentality of like in the summertime you've got to save for the winter, and so you have to keep on kind of being selfish in a way. But I think in Africa, like you had a different culture where you might have had, like, you know, good weather all the time. You didn't have to worry about saving up your foods for the winter because it's not really any winter. So maybe it's the temperament of the two different people when they clashed. It led to kind of like the barbarity that we saw. Can I ask you, because I'm going to go in a bit, but do you classify the Dravidians as black people of India, the Dravidians of India?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're dark skinned, so yeah.
All right. So there's a theory, because my people are from the north and we're lighter than the south. They refer to people from the north as Indo-Aryans, yeah. And so there is a theory that I don't know if it's true that the Harappan civilization from 5,000-6,000 years ago, they used to be the Dravidians, the dark-skinned people, and then some people from, say, the Caucasus, not necessarily white but lighter skin, came in and then pushed the Dravidians down, and then kind of colonized the place and created a caste system, which is basically, you could say, is a racial hierarchy at the time, where you had the light-skinned people at the top. So do you agree with that? Do you agree with that particular theory?
Of course, because I've read that. I've read that in terms of the era, and the dark-skinned person walking about behind these things and waiting for them to shit. I mean, what I'm saying is that The whole planet is like that. Everywhere that the light-skinned man plant himself across the entire planet, every continent, he's done exactly the same thing. And everybody was before him were dark-skinned. Even the cheddar man that they recently made up just the other day in Europe was dark-skinned. Not
so do you classify the North Indians as in what? Because I think there is this kind of dispute about what is Caucasian. Caucasian means people from the Caucasus. So yeah, people that are from North India can be classified as Caucasians in that sense. Yeah. So would you classify the North Indians as other as well and more savage than the Dravidians?
Yeah, I'm not. You see, I'm not. You see, you have to spend. Sometimes you have to spend. I have to take that information from somebody who studied that for a long time. I can have a viewpoint, but my viewpoint is that the timeline, the historical timeline, has been fucked with. You know what I mean? They've lied stuff and they've taken stuff out and they've burnt certain records. They even tried to bury Hatshepsut as a woman, you know, as a black woman, black queen, in there to dig her out of some place that whoever took her over before tried to hide the femininity and the strength of the femininity of the original people of that world, you know, the original Egyptians, not the ones who came later. So I'm saying that there's so much lies, and it seems to be fundamental to the European mindset to lie and to deceive. And these reasons are not, because they're not truthful, obviously, and because there's not enough people to be able to broach this. You have to take a lot of this stuff from white people, from me anyway, that are willing to share this information and expose their own self. Like, you know, like you have the teachers, like they came from caves. Forgot the guy who wrote that. You know what I'm saying? And the aggression of the white man. Now, this idea that they came from caves. How did they get to the caves? They say, oh, they travel from. I'm saying, well, I don't think so, because they don't even look like it. The DNA is different. They don't look like us. You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think? Before I go on, Theo, can I just address a comment on the thingy just for 1 second, please? Leon.
Leon, what are you talking about?
I just want to address one comment for 1 second.
Was it unrelated? Some insult, some.
It's not really unrelated, but I just want to say something, please. I beg you, just this one.
Quick things, Raj. Quick things. Don't mock.
All right. So to Dil Singh half, yeah. If you truly think you can do better, you little pussy, jump on. There's an open thingy. Give your email. Don't be a keyboard warrior and a turd the rest of your life, you little prick. And jump on before you start criticizing me. All right. So
what happened? When
he's no Sikh, brother. He's a freaking gutter dwelling prick of epic.
Your ex.
All right. So go on.
So family saying that Raj is getting battered up here. Mad thing.
Yeah, so can I ask you a question? Do you feel that how do you think white people then became, because we know people came from Africa, yeah, and they moved upwards. Do you believe that their skin lightened because of the colder climate, or do you think they started mixing with like Neanderthals, and then because there is this when they've done a DNA test of a lot of white people, especially Europeans, they have between 1 to 5% of Neanderthal DNA, and people from China and places, but the only people that don't have Neanderthal DNA is people that are indigenous to Africa. I mean, Leon probably had Neanderthal DNA because these people are from Jamaica, but anyone that was never left Africa tends to not. Could that not explain why white people might have green eyes, blue eyes, and have the pale skin?
They might have mixed. But they might mix with another species as well, like. Because green eyes, you know, these things come from another order, and if you don't believe in any other order but human beings, then you're stuck there. We can't have this discussion. I believe there's other types of beings that have been on this planet. So if you're not on that same page with me, then whatever I say to you, it sounds like rubbish, right? Now, if they interbred,
well, I mean, I'm not.
If they interbred with reptilians, you could see why their lips are thin. You could see why they've got different eyes. You can see why all original human beings have brown eyes. You can see. You say, well, how come all original people of every original have brown eyes and black hair? You know, and when the Sumerians created human beings, they called them the Igigi, and they said the black-headed one. So everywhere on the planet where indigenous people are, their hair is black. Then we've got these people who claim that, you know, there's a mutation or whatever, who are blonde hair with different color eyes. Yeah, even yellow eyes. This is not mammalian eyes. Mammalian, well, I suppose there's some mammals that have it, I guess. But most human beings across the entire planet who are original species of human beings have brown eyes and black hair.
Yeah, but that's what I'm asking you, because I can agree with you on that in terms of people come from Africa, but when they moved upwards and went into Northern Europe,
not Africa.
No, but couldn't it? No, but instead of this, because I'm not going to say that this there was never aliens here. Anything could be true. We could be in a matrix. We could be like anything. I can't say it's true or not. There could have been aliens everywhere. We never know. I'm not that type of person to say, "Oh, you're crazy for saying that." I'm like, all right, cool. That's what you think. Let's try and figure out whether that's true. But I mean, a more kind of sensible, or not sensible, let's just say more logical view might be that the Africans here, or the Homo sapiens, moved upwards and went into Europe, and Europe had been inhabited by Neanderthals for like 600,000 years before Homo sapiens went up. Yeah. And so they might have started, the theory is they started mating with those people, and maybe the genes from those Neanderthals carried the lighter skin, the particular hair, the green eyes and stuff. So they just had a different kind of like phenotype.
They weren't made from the same materials then, was they? They weren't, because if you live on a sun planet and a solar system, then that sun planet would, before this quote unquote ice age and the moon that wasn't there before and all sorts of stuff that it's difficult to go in right this moment. If this was and it was a sun planet, and everybody, all human beings are black people, all of them. There is no white people there. So when did they come into being on the planet to be Neanderthal? You know what I'm saying? Because all humans were created out what they say from mitochondria Eve, which would have been a black woman, so all her children would have been black. So the only
can I just say that I don't believe in that Adam and Eve theory at all.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm using whatever theory you want to use. I'm saying, if you go back to the Sumerian tablets previous to the Bible, it talks about creating these beings, you know what I'm saying, as slaves, or creating them, because the gold of the land was good. There's lots of stories.
So can I ask you before I go, because I'm going to go in a bit, but can I...
Peter, they've got their own stories. There's so many different stories.
Can I ask you, do you believe in the theory? Because like I've read some, because obviously on Raspik's channel there's a lot of racism towards white people and even Asian people, and one of the things I keep on hearing is Yakub this, you're the son of Yakub. And so when I started researching, that theory is from the Nation of Islam, that the white man was actually created by a black man with a guy called Yakub with a big head, specifically to subjugate the black people. Like he was just, the only role is to come down and destroy and subjugate the black people. Do you believe in that kind of theory, that the white people are just there for that reason?
No. I
don't
believe in any of those. But I do believe that, like I said, it's clear that that's what they're doing, subjugating the human race. So if they're subjugating, who are they? Are they actually human? So if they say Yakub made him, none of my investigation says that comes true for me. So I can't agree with something that I haven't found out for myself, or I don't believe for myself. I don't group believe. I try not to anyway, and then I try and find out, does that sit right with me? And that's it. And I'm saying that doesn't sit right.
What happens when you meet white people that are good people who are trying to do trying to repent for some of the past sins? There's a lot of people, like white people, are like literally whipping themselves into a fervor to make up for past atrocities.
Hold on, I don't want to get into this. You're moving that argument to something emotive now. I'm saying we're not talking about. We're talking. We're not I'm not walking around with a gun. I'm talking, and I'm trying to espouse my theory. You can't start asking about. I know white people. I work with white people. I grew up with white people. You can't start asking me about like you're looking for some little small little bit where I can say, oh yeah, white people they're really nice. Don't do that. That's not really intellectual. If you want to argue the point, let's start getting into like, what if the white people that are nice and I met a lot of white people. The first person that introduced me to black history was a white woman. So I don't want to get into all of that. That's just stuff, and anybody that's listened to me knows that. So I don't want to get into all of that. That's not what we're talking about.
But don't you think that if these people that you've met heard your views, wouldn't you think that they might be a bit offended by your rhetoric?
Your mind's become weak. You've allowed the European mindset to you're saying about stuff like that. Well, they're manipulating your mind to talk about offense all the time. If you're speaking and there is no intention to offend, because when I tell you to go and fuck yourself, that's me trying to offend you. But if I'm saying to them they should fuck themselves, then you have to say to them, well, does that offend me, or do I want to be offended? Now, what they've developed in the society, this weakness within people that you cannot just say what you need to say. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not politically correct and all this kind of stuff. They've managed to change words. They've managed words to suit their temperament whenever they feel like. So if they decide that where black people are now racist, which we can really not be, we can be prejudiced, but we can't be racist.
No, you can be racist, Dr. X. Sorry.
You can't, we can't be racist. You can't be racist against your own race. That's stupidity.
Oh, no, not against your own race, but you can be racist towards, say, Asians and white people and stuff like that.
You can be racist to another race, but you cannot be racist towards white people. You know what I'm saying? You can't be racist towards white people. I'm sorry, you can't be racist to your own people.
No, I don't believe you can be racist towards your own people. I agree. And the thing is, Dr. X, one thing I agree with you, what you said, that people are too soft nowadays and too easily hurt by words and stuff.
They're not too soft. They've been programmed.
Manipulated, whichever way you want to say it, but I believe that people. I like to hear very.
And that's our earlier argument of how you have to stand up for yourself. That's what I'm doing. So you're saying they have to take account for themselves. I'm saying you're saying that how did they end up killing each other? How do people end up saying good morning? How are you? Have a nice day. Well, you're welcome. How do thousands of people end up saying that across London without nobody programming them to do that? Thousands of people, hundreds of thousands start saying good morning, have a nice day, have a nice day, good morning, like some robots. That means that there is a program at foot. You know, when you look at some of the stuff that's on the internet, when you go across 15 different TV stations, they're all saying the same things. And we're not trying to be. You click on them. Oh, we're not trying to be this. So there's somebody programming people have found a way to enter into the psyche of man, and being able to manipulate their psyche to do their will. You know what I'm saying? The idea that it cannot happen, and we've got to take. If the people are benevolent, you have a different outcome from a people who are malevolent. So if you're controlling somebody's brain and you have bad intention, the outcome for the people who have bad intention is going to be different from the people who have good intention.
All right, so Dr. X here, I agree with you. If you hear what I say, but I don't base that on race. I've said that most people are sheep, and if you can easily manipulate them into. What I'm saying, you can easily manipulate people into doing pretty much anything up to a certain degree. But what I'm saying,
that's because the people have the technology to understand how you think. That's how they've sprayed them. That's why they put fluoride in the food. That's how they put chemtrails in the air, because they know how to manipulate your mind. That doesn't mean you're a sheep. It means that you're a human being, and human beings are not designed to go to war every single day. That's why they talked about the Garden of Eden. That's why they talk about the planet of Eden. They talked about people not living to try and rob each other, steal from each other, they weren't living for that. Human beings are not designed that way. Quite clearly, when you go to indigenous people, only when you come to the urbanized and the people that have mixed in with the whites and the people that have mixed in the those are the people that can't stand each other. But when you go into the urban, if you go into the indigenous places where people have lived for hundreds of thousands of years or thousands of years by themselves, you don't find that. And that means they're human. What you want to say? Oh, they're primitive. No, they're human. That's what they are first. Primitive is just a state.
All right, Dr. X, I need to go here, but one thing I do want
to go now. Then you've been saying that for a minute.
No, I do truly need to go. But you're a very interesting guy, man. I like talking to you. So I've listened and I've heard. I'm not going to say that everything. I'm not going to disagree and say everything you're saying is wrong. Some of the stuff you've got some gold mine in there, but there's a lot of trash as well. No offense, bro. But the thing is, a bit like me as well, though. It's a bit like me. If you listen to me, there's a lot of trash, but there's some good stuff in it. But one thing I have to strongly disagree with is that black people cannot be racist to other races, because I've heard people say racist stuff to white people, and I know you're going to like prejudice plus power, but I don't necessarily agree that is the only way to be racist. Like, you can be racist if you're walking down a road, hold on, bro. If you're walking down a road, and if you're an Asian person and a black person's walking towards you and they don't like you because you're Asian, and they come up to you and start harassing you and demonize you or trying to beat you up or whatever, then they're being racist towards you. That is still racism, because they don't like you because you're a different color to them or a different race to them. So black people can be racist on the individual level as well.
Well, like I said, I think that's a modern racism is a modern, and they have twisted it. to suit their purposing. You know what I'm saying? And I get what you're saying, because you're going to still, I can just not like you because what do you call somebody who don't like someone because they're on their street, like postcode? What do you call someone who don't like someone because they don't have their train, the same trainers on? Because what do you call them, a trainerist? I don't know what you call them. You know, what do you call someone who's on the wrong, living on the wrong side of the street or on the wrong estate at the wrong time? What do you call them, an estatist? What it is just like, if you're like, if anything you want to call it, whether it's racism or whatever, the real paradigm starts with, the real term doesn't start with Indians. Indians in terms of our community and most other lighter skinned races, even though we got lighter skinned races amongst us, tend to benefit from the oppression of white people in all our communities. They can.
Yeah, I mean, I
said that about. Let me finish this. Indians and Sikhs and all of these people and Chinese and Koreans can come into our communities and get wealthy. Black people cannot go into their communities. Black people have to fathom through white people to get, you know, and work through a white system to get to these people to buy from.
I'll tell you why.
You won't find it. You won't find it. You won't find it. It doesn't matter what the reason why you're giving me why. I'm just trying to show you the dynamic why people still say you can't be racist, because in a sense you lot still have power. You've got this. You're piggybacking off the same white man power. So that's why they're saying that it's power plus prejudice. So it's difficult. Like I said, in the individual basis, the individual black man doesn't like an individual white man, you know, or Asian man or whatever, Chinese man. That's not racism, because again, an individual black man cannot like you because you ain't got the wrong trainers on. We're talking about its overall meaning of racism, which is you having power, you know what I'm saying, and you're able to manipulate and wield that power to the detriment of these people. So racism isn't an individual, it isn't based on individualism. Racism is based on race, not the individuals within the race. The race, how the race maneuvers. So the race of Indians maneuver like this in our black community.
So can I ask you a question? If say if a black guy was running a large corporation and he was hired, say like 500 people, he made the company from scratch, went all the way up, and he's now running this company, employing 500 people from different races and stuff. And then he's a bit racist himself here. So when he's kind of employing people, he does preferential treatment to the blacks, and he mistreats the employees that are not black. Is that not power plus prejudice that would make him racist? Would you not agree, or is that something that
not from my point of view? That would be from your point of view. That wouldn't make him racist from my point of view, would it? Because I'm the same race as him. Just like I'm saying that. Just like when the Indians are in India. No, but you can call it what you want. I'm not trying to tell you what to call it. I'm trying to show you how we view it as a black race. How you view it as an Indian race, that's your business. That's not my business.
No, but
the Indians are in the black community doing that. The other Indians don't see it as racist. When the Chinese are in the Chinese doing that and giving each other heads up and the Chinese don't see it as racist. So why would I, as a black man, have this overall view? If I see if you see it as racist, that's your business. That's not my business. To me, that's just.
I'm asking you, not whether you.
No,
hold on, Doctor, please, one second. I'm asking you this because you're saying black people can't be racist. I'm saying, if somebody had the power that they're running a company employing 500 people and they are sacking people based on race, is that racist or not? But is that racist or not?
But you get an answer and you don't like the answer, so you ask the question.
No, because I don't think it's a straight answer. It's a yes or no kind of answer.
No, you can't. You see, this is what I'm saying to you. Like, I'm not in court and I'm under no demand to answer you the way you want me to. The answer I'm giving you is the answer that I'm giving you, and I'm saying to you this again. When people are in the Chinese community, is it racist to Chinese people? You can't ask me as another race to support your view as another race of what racism is when I've already told you that it's about races. You're another race to me, so I'm not going to then say, oh yeah, that is racist. Like I'm not the white people. I haven't got a holistic view of the world, and I can't say everything I say is right, and then I'm going against this guy. I'm for this guy. I'm saying to you, if you believe or your race believes that it's racist, you know what I'm saying, then that's your business. But meanwhile, while I'm looking and my sons and my daughters and the people around me are looking, they're looking and going, well, that's just equating everything. You know what I'm saying? We're not saying, oh, that's racist. You're saying that's racist because now you're on the other end of the stick, which is what you've been doing for how many years and don't feel no way. None of you feel
I do agree with one thing here, that like Asian people do when they set up shops and stuff, they do have a very what you call kind of a like they look very inwards in terms of their own community, in terms of who they're going to employ. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but if they employed somebody and then they sacked them just based on their race, then that would be racist. Do you understand? Like, I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that black people should not be selfish in terms of employing people from their own background and supporting their community. In fact, that's the best thing to do in terms of to bring the money back into your community.
Bro, you know, you're talking.
Anyway, thanks a lot. Like, anyway, you know, Dr. X, I really appreciate you chatting, man. I had a good chat with you, man. Big up to Dr. X as well, man. Big up to Leo, man. Thanks for coming. Sorry, I apologize for coming on. I didn't understand what the nature of the program was.
The same thing like Sophia and take over the show. And
yeah, I didn't realize it. All I saw was Hollywood Effect. I didn't know what Dr. X was and so I didn't realize that it was a kind of like a, you know, his panel and then people come and talk to him. So yeah, I apologize if I come across as a little bit thingy. But till that Dill Singh half your gut dwelling prick, come onto my channel on Manny Cinders on Friday and try and address all the pussy hell comments you made. All right, bye.
Cool, man. Respect.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, dialogue. That's what it is. You know, this is how we communicate, whether you agree or you don't.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like I said, like when Chinese people and these people they're coming, they it's like they always trying to get us to turn to view the world the way they want it to, because it's like sometimes they actually do feel a way that, you know what I mean. But this individuals can't do anything about what their race is doing. You got what I'm trying to say? The race has to move. So you might be, you know, like I said, it was a white woman that introduced me to Black history. So what that means, I must love all white people then? It just that doesn't make no sense. Or you got attacked by a black guy, so you must hate all black people. None of that makes sense. All I'm saying is that if you view, I'm saying that as a black man, I can't view. You want me to view things like I'm a god, like I'm a white man, like I have whatever I say goes. I know what I view, how I view the world according to my race, my upbringing, my environment, and all that. Now, I can't then agree with your view of the world when it's contrary to my view of the world, because you're trying to play semantics with words. That's not what I'm going to do. If you believe that, you know, black people are racist, if that were in that case, then that's up for you to believe. But none of us are in that position, really. That's what you call a make-believe scenario. And even if it does happen, how little bit is that scenario in comparison to the Koreans and the Indians and the Sikhs and the Chinese in our community?